Hello, I'm Mark Mason, Communications Manager for Dash, and today's Ask Me Anything is with Daniel Kwak, Marketing Director at OIN Finance, and Felix Magoo from Dash Next. Welcome, Daniel, to the AMA, and thanks for joining us today.
No, thank you very much. I'm excited to be here, and we love the Dash community. You guys are amazing. Thanks for having us.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. And I'd also like to welcome and give thanks to Felix for helping to organize the AMA today. Welcome, Felix.
Hello, always welcome, and thank you for having me. Great to be here and answer some questions.
Excellent. Okay, right. Before we begin, just a few house rules, just for those watching, and just so we can explain the format of the AMA outline. So before we begin the AMA, I'd just like to do a quick overview. We are broadcasting this live on several social media platforms. For those of you watching, may I kindly ask that you like and share this video stream so that we can reach as many people as possible. The AMA today will be for 60 minutes. Please feel free to start submitting your questions in the comment sections. We will do our very best to answer as many of your questions as possible. Please do try to keep your questions as short and direct as possible. While we wait for the first few questions to come in, I have prepared a few questions from the Dash community to start with. So let's begin. Okay, Daniel and Felix, are you ready?
Yeah, let's start. I'm excited.
Okay, so let's just start from ground zero, because there may be people watching this that didn't see the initial announcement about the partnership that Dash Next brought with OIN Finance. So let's start from the basics. What is OIN Finance? Daniel, would you mind answering that?
Yeah, of course. So at OIN Finance, what we try to do is bring DeFi to the rest of the crypto world, right? So DeFi has currently been kind of within its own little, sphere, where it's just DeFi companies, looking at decentralized exchanges, leveraging, anything from lending to yield farming. It's all about copying and adapting the existing financial instruments you see out in the traditional worlds onto the crypto space. So what we recognized was that there was a big gap between the DeFi space and what's outside of the DeFi space, right? So companies who didn't start with or are currently developing a product on DeFi don't really have access to it that well. So what we decided to do was empower crypto projects with DeFi functionality. So to start with, what we did was we're creating stablecoins, for example, right? So what Dash will be doing as well on our platform is users will be able to come onto our platform, stake their Dash tokens for Dash branded stablecoins, right? So it won't just be, for example, MakerDAO. The only stablecoin you can create is the DAI. For us, you'll be able to, say, we haven't decided on the name yet, I don't think, but, USD Dash, right? And I think that's, whoever we talk to, I think they're super excited about this, this prospect of creating their own branded tokens that they have full control over, by the way. They're free to, set their collateralization rates because it is backed by the token. The naming of it, the liquidation points of the pool that actually backs the stablecoins. And a very simple and easy to use, backend management system for partner projects such as Dash. And it's a great way to leverage DeFi onto whatever platform that they have, right? For whatever use cases. And I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about Dash's use cases that they have in mind or that they're exploring. So yeah,
Excellent.
that's where we started. And we have other products coming out, such as OIN Lend and OIN Swap. Right? So OIN Swap is another DEX, but it'll first start with a big need where the users who mint those stablecoins, because they're essentially leveraging, right? They stake their tokens for their favorite projects, mint stablecoins with that, and with that you could go onto OIN Swap and exchange that for any gambles that they want to take on up-and-coming projects, or if they want to double down on, their favorite tokens, Dash, that's fine as well.
Interesting. So this may be the first time people in the Dash community are hearing about OIN Finance. So I just want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. So it's OIN is in like coin, but does that actually
Yes.
OIN stand for anything? What does the OIN represent anything, or how did you come up with that name? What does it represent?
That's a tricky question because we pivoted quite hard from the beginning, right? So initially, what we were going to do is we were going to start with the ontology platform, but I think a great strength in our company is that we're able to pivot as we see the market changes, right? So we saw that DeFi was too heavily focused on Ethereum, and that if we were to really truly try and bring DeFi to projects outside of the DeFi space, then we needed to tackle the platform that has the most tokens on it. Initially, we thought ontology was great, and it still is great. It offers fast transaction speeds, low transaction costs, but for us, we had to go with what was the highest in demand, right?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
cool. Well, yeah, I think we
looks at ontology.
I think we can dig deeper in a little bit into the world of Ethereum and DeFi. And one of the roles that Felix has been doing within Dash, onboarding partnerships like yourselves, is really trying to establish a bridge with DeFi and Dash. So I just want to ask Felix quickly, like, what attracted you with Dash Next to do a partnership with OIN Finance? What does this partnership represent for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to add a little bit to what Daniel just said, because the way I see it, what happened in blockchain in the last years was that projects are growing together, number one, and that there were a lot of projects that kind of on their little island developed amazing things, right? So Ethereum is famous for a lot of things. You can do a lot of things with it. The community is great. They have a lot of developers. We as Dash are fantastic with exactly what Daniel just said as well, with fast transactions, cheap transactions, an amazing merchant network, an amazing community that is using Dash. But it was hard to just swap from Dash to Ethereum or to whatever without using any centralized entity. So now the time goes by, and now we finally have solution to bridge these little worlds, right? And this actually goes for every single blockchain project and the according ecosystems. If you want to play with the other kids on the other island, you have to have a bridge or a boat to sail over, right? And this is exactly where I see the space right now developing, and this is where partners like OIN come in, as amazing partners, because they enable exactly that, to bridge the world to other chains. I mean, as it happens, Ethereum DeFi is happening on Ethereum, or has been happening on Ethereum in the last year. Now that changed a little bit to Binance Smart Chain, and prospectively to other projects as well. So for us, it's important to have exactly partners like OIN that are able, to click in these different blockchains and to then enable bridges. And we will see later when we hopefully talk a little bit about the use cases, that you have to have these building blocks in place to then start building whatever you want. And obviously, what our strengths are a lot. Again, it's fast transactions, it's cheap transactions, and it's a merchant network. So obviously my perspective is to be in all of that and to add everything now you can do with DeFi, which is essentially everything in terms of be your own bank and be your own trading institution. Because also, as Daniel just said, now what is happening is that we recreate the world of financial products in a decentralized manner. And again, in order to do that with Dash, or to help Dash users to use these kind of services, we need people, partnerships, bridges, and opportunities. So obviously a stablecoin was one thing everybody was, or many people were asking for, how can we do this? And here's the answer, and this is what we're talking today about.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Felix. Well, Daniel, I do have a question for you. So the world of DeFi is booming. Last year, especially 2020, it's massive. I think there's like 42 billion in DeFi right now. It's absolutely a juggernaut, and it's really taken on a lot of the CeFi centralized exchanges. But like, as Felix mentioned, there's now like Binance Smart Chain, and you mentioned in the beginning that you're very versatile, and you kind of switch gears from a different blockchain network and built OIN Finance on Ethereum. Can you just explain why you chose to do that on Ethereum? Was it just because they had the edge? They've got the biggest network effect, or was there other reasons?
Oh, that was exactly it. That was probably the biggest driving factor behind it. I mean, if you look at DeFi itself, I mean, before Polkadot got big and everything else, like it was a ridiculous amount that was just completely centralized into Ethereum, right? And when someone thinks of DeFi, they don't think, another chain that I don't really, I don't want to talk bad about, call anybody small, but you just think Ethereum when you think DeFi, right? You think Ethereum when you talk about projects that are launching. Nowadays, it's also, Polkadot and whatnot, but it is still heavily dominated by Ethereum. So for us, I guess I jumped a bit ahead with my previous answer, but for us, it really was about, bringing our tools to as many people as possible, because we saw a very high demand for the products that we will be releasing, and especially the OIN DAO. Exactly like Felix said, the stablecoin things. The community was asking about it, right? So are our other partner projects. Their community also asked about stablecoins. They also wanted to see use cases come out that could leverage stablecoins. So we thought, we gotta get on this quick. We gotta do this fast, and we have to pretty much attack the biggest market that we can attack at the moment. So what do you start with? You start with Ethereum, right? And then, we also have plans to, for example, integrate Polkadot, Binance Smart Chain, and truly do cross-platform. But as of now, I mean, Dash is an amazing partner that we just got, and, it would be very hard to do that without Ethereum, for example.
Exactly. Well, this is really interesting. Because when people hear DeFi, they do naturally think Ethereum. So I think this is probably a good question to ask. And Felix kind of mentioned this already about the cross-chain interoperability. So let's tackle that now, because when we say DeFi, which stands for decentralized finance, if all the decentralized finance just happen on the Ethereum network, that's kind of a bit centralized when we have all these different blockchains, right? In the sense when we talk about decentralization, it's a bit centralized in that aspect. And there are a lot of solutions coming out now. So can you just explain to me, Daniel, why does DeFi need blockchain interoperability and cross-chain communication? Because this is your secret sauce, right?
Yes. Well, it really is just, what is the spirit of blockchain, right? It really is exactly like you said, decentralization. It's about access. It's about giving people the freedom with, regardless of how you think of crypto assets, it's a form of asset regardless, right? And it's about giving people the freedom to do what they need to or would like to do with it. And of course, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So what do you do when you first start an industry as massive and as revolutionary as blockchain? Well, you take the successful models that you've seen out in the traditional world, and you try and adapt it to what we're doing currently, right? So again, DeFi finance, we're taking what's existing in finance and bringing it over here. So what does finance do? Finance is, it's about assets, it's about money, it's about cash flows, it's about people buying and selling, right? It's about people saving for the future, whatever it may be. But if we're limiting that function, that finance specific aspects of crypto just to Ethereum, then, exactly like you said, that's not very accessible to the rest of, crypto, is it? That really is going against kind of the spirit of blockchain. And not just that, I mean, how much money, how much, value is locked in other assets outside of Ethereum, right? That is still a massive amount of money or massive amount of value that you could unlock into the DeFi world. So what is DeFi? Currently, it's really taken on this trend of, things like yield farming. It's about, leveraging. It's about increasing your holdings. It's about investments, right? Whether you're actually doing investments or not, leveraging is something that's done by, banks and whatnot. So, I mean, if we have a ton of assets that's kind of locked up and inaccessible, why would you not try and, bring that into your ecosystem, right? Why not try and unlock, the rest of the crypto world?
Excellent. Yeah, it just
Plus,
makes sense.
additionally, if I may add to that, the truth is there is no perfect solution as of now. The space is still super young. We are still seeing a lot of problems we permanently run into. We talk about scalability for years. We're talking about so many things that kind of prevent us to realize the dream we already have and really limit the solutions we are right now able to build, right? So it's about going with the technology and going with the best developments, and this is moving parts all along. And another part we didn't mention yet is also the user base, because obviously it's very interesting to be with Ethereum because of a great user base. Obviously it's an increasing value proposition to be with Binance Smart Chain because they are driving a lot of users into that space, right? And you can see that on every stat. So there is that's why it's in the making. And if we have this conversation next month, we already have 50 more new ideas to discuss about. So this is how fast we develop right now.
Okay, Felix. Well, we've got a question come in from YouTube, and I think this may be best suited to you, Felix, but Daniel, feel free to add on to Felix's answer. What's the first partnership project Dash is doing with OIN Finance?
Yeah, we're creating this stablecoin. As many people of you might be aware already, we started Dash to DeFi, the Dash tipping toes into the DeFi world very recently. And we said one of the most important building blocks we have to bring in place is essentially a wrapped asset and a bridge that enables us to go to another blockchain. So this wrapped asset has just been launched. It's called StakedDash together with Stakehound. We released a proposal in this cycle to do also a REN Dash integration, which hopefully will happen in Q2 of this year. And the moment we have that, we are able to play along with the other kids and on other blockchains, and we can do together with OIN essentially create a stablecoin that is backed by Dash. And the way this works is actually quite simple. You have these wrapped Dash assets. You send them into essentially a front end that OIN, I assume, will create, and with that you can take out stablecoins. So the question is, how do we collateralize that? And there's many details in the back, but essentially that's the first part of the partnership. Use Dash to mint a stablecoin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly the goal of the initial part of our partnership, right? That's pretty much what's going to be visible through the back end that he was talking about. There could be a lot of room to play. There could be a lot of future parts of the project that could come out that we're currently exploring and talking about. And yeah, it's quite exciting because, exactly like Felix said, the community has really been dying for a stablecoin, right? So I think that's kind of the first steps that we're definitely going to take.
I may add, because also this is a very interesting thing, right? Because we were, for many years now, we have started to build these merchant ecosystems, and really, we were the co-founders here of Dash Thailand. So we went out to Mama's Noodle Shop, right, and installed them a Dash payment system, and super happy that it worked out. But the way it worked out, that everybody was asking us, but I'm scared with this cryptocurrency. I don't want to handle the volatility risks and everything that it implies. So what we did was we needed a third party, and again, a centralized service like an exchange, like a bank or a payment service that was able to settle in fiat currency. And this is how many of the merchant networks work around the world, that people can pay in cryptocurrency, but the merchant, no, we don't want this crazy stuff. We want fiat money. So now they have another option, and now they have another business case to say, okay, we don't need to go out, and it can have many implications such as taxes, automation of reporting processes, and a lot of things that can come with that.
Okay, clearly, Felix, as you identified, Dash is a very payments-focused cryptocurrency with strong merchant adoption. So a stablecoin is something that's really needed in Dash, especially where we have key adoption in places like Latam, particularly Venezuela, where they have very high volatility with the Venezuelan Bolivia on a day-to-day basis. So as a stablecoin is of strong interest and importance to Dash, let's go into that a bit deeper. So Daniel, can we just talk more about the process of creating the stablecoin on OIN Finance? Let's just start with the basics. How much collateral is required to create a stablecoin on OIN Finance?
Right. I think that's part of the beauty of our platform, the OIN DAO, that allows pretty much whatever good project there is, reputable, in good standing, to mint their own stablecoins, is that they really can customize their own pool, right? So what you could also do, for example, is have it, backed by a fixed number of tokens per US dollar. So for example, you could have, I don't know, for OIN, it's currently at 3,500 OIN to $1 US. The price of OIN can change, but once the price lowers, if the price lowers enough to hit the liquidation point, then we liquidate the pool. The USDO does not retain the status of a stablecoin anymore, and we return all OIN to the users' wallets. That's one way of doing it, and that, again, is completely flexible, right? So if Dash did an analysis on their prices, and they found that it has very little volatility, regardless of whether the market is in a bull or bear run, and they saw that it doesn't need to be, very overly collateralized, then they can set a low collateralization rate. Otherwise, what they could also do is have it fixed by price, right? So they could say, hey, look, we want about $1.5 in Dash tokens to represent $1 US, right? Or, the Thai baht or whatever currency that you're trying to make. So really, I think that is one of the key strengths, and the reason why I think Dash really liked our platform too is that customization that you can really do for your stablecoin and the staking pool.
Okay, cool. There's a few questions coming in. We got a question coming from YouTube, Daniel. Clearly, there's a lot of interest in this. Is the OIN Finance code open source?
Yes, we try to be as open as we can, and we do have a decent GitHub page that you can take a look at. It is on the OIN DAO website.
Okay, cool. Now, I'm not sure if this next question is better suited to Felix or Daniel, but it's also from the Crypto Research Report. How do you know if the smart contract where you send your StakedDash is legit if code is not open source? Is it just a front-end website, or is it an actual smart contract like MakerDAO's? Well, Daniel's just said that it's open source, but I really like your analogy with MakerDAO, because essentially people watching this may be familiar with DAI, right? But essentially what OIN Finance is allowing other cryptocurrencies to do is to create their own assets pegged, right? I mean, that's what the main service that you're offering. But Felix, Daniel, who wants to tackle this question?
I think it's a better one for Daniel.
Yeah, I think it is. Well, smart contracts. We're using smart contracts, right? So we provide pretty much the front end that interacts with the smart contract, and any of your staking or redeeming, there's also rewards associated if the projects decide to offer staking rewards. And you can find all of that on, for example, Etherscan, right? Any Ethereum blockchain explorer. And that's open source. You can see the smart contracts. You can see your history of trading, staking, whatever it is. So, you can trust us, right?
Okay.
We also have done one complete audit, and any updates that we're doing is constantly undergoing audits as well. And we're actually getting second opinions as well, because again, we're really dealing with people's assets, right? And as time goes on, you're watching the news, you really realize that security is the most important thing in the DeFi space. So trust me, we understand the importance of the security of your assets.
Excellent. Well, I think that follows up. Clearly, there's a lot of interest here, because the questions are starting to fly in now, which is great. There's no such thing as a silly question, so please keep your questions coming in. This is great. So a follow-up question: will liquidations work the same way as they do with MakerDAO? If the collateral drops in value, StakedDash in brackets, then you get a margin call, and can you top up your collateral? So how does this work in that sense? Because you said basically the way I understand it, how you explained it, Daniel, is it's kind of like customized. It's up to us, because we would be creating the stablecoin asset. So how many coins we peg to the dollar is down to us, right? That's not determined by you. Okay.
No, it's not. We provide a couple frameworks that you can work off of. So for example, our current iteration of the smart contracts only have the fixed token to fixed US dollar, right? But our second version should be coming out very soon, within a week or two, and that'll have other features added as well. So it's these types of features that Dash could decide to take up on, really according to whatever their pool's needs are, right?
Okay, excellent. So, okay,
if the collateral drives some value, then yes, we can liquidate, right? But that is really up to what kind of liquidation points that the project sets, how volatile it is. But I'm sure you understand.
Okay, another quick question for you.
Also,
oh yeah, go for it.
Maybe for me to add, because for me it's important to to think about what actually we want to achieve with that, right? So if we say we want to enable, for example, in LATAM, the merchants an option to go into USD easy for if you pay anything outside with Dash, right? Just to make the economy better and do that. So the question is, how can we protect these merchants? That should be the most important question. So I guess there is a lot of room for us to explore as well ideas. I can, for example, even think about kind of a DAO fund that acts as a merchant safety network for something. There's just ideas done, spitting out some ideas, but there's a lot of room how we can play with this, and how we can essentially make sure that people don't get liquidated. And the most important thing is that nobody loses trust and any assets when we use a solution like this.
It's interesting you mentioned fund, Felix, because a question's just come in. Is OIN Finance considering a Dash partnership in the future? Felix, I guess that's probably best for you to answer. I don't think this has been discussed.
I hope Diff is watching this.
Yeah,
let's discuss. I'm super hyped. I'm not even sure we passed that point of our relationship, Daniel, already, where I explained to you what the Diff is. The Diff is a decentralized investment foundation financed by the DashPay. And they are constantly looking for partners. So this is an open conversation, or a conversation that we maybe can just start now and try to make these intros and try to spin some ideas. I'm super open for something like that. And I just mentioned that fund. I think it's a fantastic idea to spin many ideas.
We're always looking for new partnerships, new ways to leverage our technology and pretty much the manpower that we got. So yeah, of course, we'd love to discuss it.
Excellent. Okay, well, people are getting very excited about this. So Roy's just asking a question on YouTube. Will the Dash stablecoin be able to be used in the Dashpay app wallet? Okay, that might be putting the cart before the horse, Felix, but I mean, it has potential, but I guess we don't have the authority to say that as of yet. But yeah, what do you think?
I think you would be even better suited to answer that question, Mark.
Yeah.
My hope is yes, and my wish is also a clear yes for that.
Yeah, I think look, let's expand on that a little bit. So clearly Felix has identified the need in terms of merchant adoption, in terms of real world utility spending at merchants. This is really important. So I would absolutely love to envision the day when I open up my Dash wallet on my phone and I have my Dash balance, but I also have like a DUSD, a D Euro and stuff as well, because it just makes the whole user experience more fluid. If we really want to become that mainstream, like Apple or cryptocurrency-esque thing, we really need to focus on the mainstream, not what other cryptos are doing. Like we want to focus on real world adoption. So I would love to see that. Of course, the main software development house right now is Dash Core Group, and they maintain the official Dash wallet. Now, of course, there are third-party Dash wallets that could easily integrate this because it's open source and no one's stopping anyone. But that would be a decision for Dash Core Group. However, as we are a decentralized network, and if the network really did like the use of the stablecoin, and a proposal went up for the network, and the Mastodon network approved that to be integrated into the Dash wallet, official Dash wallet, then Dash Core Group, as a trust protector myself, would be my job to say, like, look, the network wants this, please implement it. So it's plausible, it's possible, but first up, let's get the stablecoin going. But yes, I would absolutely love to see that. Felix, do you just want to go on into a bit more detail on why a stablecoin in terms of merchant adoption is important? Because people, users always see it from the customer side, but they don't see it from the merchant side, and more importantly, the point of sale, the payment processor side. Do you just want to explain a bit more about that? Why a stablecoin is so important?
Thank you for bringing it up. Even it's a really great question, and I shared this experience multiple times, and it's really important that you see this other perspective when you go out to merchants and you talk to them. And really, we talked to a lot of merchants, and you can kind of make your statistics on repeated or most frequently asked questions. And definitely the most frequent asked question is, do I risk losing value if a customer pays now in Dash? What happens if tomorrow I have to settle my bills and Dash is only half price, right? So they worry much more about the potential loss of value than the increase they might have. And it's totally fair because they run a business, in my opinion. The second question they ask is, do I have to invest anything? That means in the payment systems, because many of these payment companies that come to your shop always want to sell you kind of a payment system, and then at the end of the day you have to pay like a subscription fee, or you have to buy a system or something. So these were number two. And number three, the reality is most people don't want to deal with any technology, and they don't even it even turns out it's for many people hard to keep like an email address and their password kind of safe, right? So what we really figured out is provide easy solution. And I think this is a general narrative of technology adoption, that the easier you make it for people, the more people will use it and are able to use it. So if you have to store seed phrases, that is a difficult thing for most of the merchants we talk to, and simply something, the burden, nobody wants to bear that burden. So we need simple solutions, and yeah, that's, I guess, explains a bit the need for something else. And if the simple solution is in whatever one app, it tells me I have $1 here, and I can redeem that dollar for a real dollar or whatever I want at the end of the day, then this is exactly what we need.
Excellent. Thank you, Felix, for expanding on that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'd like to also add that that's kind of exactly what we're going for, right? The OIN platform itself holds several key points in terms of value proposition to both retail clients as well as project clients such as Dash. And part of that is not just for example, leveraging, but also in that's the core offering of what a stablecoin is, and that's exactly it helps hedge against volatility, right? And regardless of whether you're talking to real world merchants or even other blockchain projects that want to do payments within their just their own ecosystem, right? Their ecosystem of partner projects, or even just products and services that they offer on their own blockchain. Then yeah, that's exactly what a lot of these guys are looking for, because exactly like you said, they're running a business. They need stable cash flows. They need to be able to pay their employees, pay the bills, and to do that, you really can use a stable coin really to its maximum extent, right? And I think that also kind of ties in with if I can venture some speculation into the Dashpay app, right? We would love to, for example, see it integrated into your app, and not just our stable coins, but also maybe even the minting function itself, right? Because we are also open to having the front end be another app, right? Another project. They can really take full control over it, as long as we're kind of mentioned somewhere, hopefully, right? But what we really want to see is really the empowerment of the holders, and that's exactly, I think, what would happen if it's truly integrated into Dashpay and for the merchants.
The last thing to mention here is also that payment is not the payment is not the same payment everywhere, right? We are here in Asia, and we realize there's a lot of different currencies per country, which is a totally different story if you go to the States. If you go to Europe, there are also completely different requirements in terms of reporting, how you handle taxes, what happens if you accept cryptocurrency in your business, and so on and so on. So obviously, it's for us very, very important to be flexible. And I mean, we didn't even talk about that yet, but I assume we would be able to release whatever stable coins we need per country or per legal situation in a country. So there's a lot of room to play with, I guess. And yeah, we have to start somewhere.
Excellent. Okay, we have another question in from the Crypto Research Report. Very interested in this project. So, okay, so I think Daniel's kind of touched on this originally, but I want to expand on this because although, Daniel, you said that OIN Finance is built on top of Ethereum and you kind of switch gears in the beginning, you mentioned Polkadot and Felix has mentioned Binance Smart Chain. So as you are a cross-chain solution built on top of Ethereum, what other blockchain networks are you currently working with right now and plan to in the future?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you, Crypto Research Report, by the way. We're excited to be here. As for us, exactly like you said, we're currently on Ethereum. We use, Ethereum smart contracts, and the stablecoins that we mint are ERC20 tokens. And exactly like previously mentioned, we will be on, for example, Polkadot, Binance Smart Chain, and whatnot. But currently, we're really heavily focused on the development of OIN DAO. Right? We're running a small and lean team, and what we're pushing out is, I think, it is at a pretty good pace. Right? So, for example, we will be having another integration onto the platform next week. We also expect the second version of our smart contracts to be released quite soon. So, for us, we really want to kind of expand the OIN DAO platform and our ecosystem as much as we can at this moment, as is, right? So for quite a while, since our ICO, we've been a little more quiet than some of the other projects out there. But that's because we've been really putting our head down and trying to build out the best that we can, right? For example, it's like a painting, right? When you first start out, you have background circles and little triangles and things that you're doing to draft out the picture, but you don't really see it until the end. And we didn't really want to, come out and say, hey, look, here's a triangle, here's a circle, right? What we wanted to do was we really wanted to present what we felt is, something that projects can really click into immediately, and something that the public can actually, utilize immediately, and something that they'd be very excited for. So that's exactly what we're doing now. That's kind of at the stage that we're at now. Right. So once we've really got a good start on building out on the Ethereum ecosystem, get Dash integrated, get some of our other projects that we've announced integrated onto the platform. We currently have 2, but we've announced I think more than 6. Right. So once we have them and we have them really rolling, then we can start developments on Polkadot and Binance Smart Chain. We have some development work done on it already, but it's not currently top priority.
Okay, all right. I just want to tackle this quick question.
I do want to note, Binance Smart Chain, I think, will be done quite soon. So just wanted to touch on that. But that's not,
What about Ethereum 2.0? How's that affecting you?
That is, I think we're excited for it. I mean, just as we've been able to pivot and adapt, we will try and make the most of Ethereum 2.0. All right. For example, the faster transaction times and lower costs associated with it, then we'll see how we can leverage that, right? Not just for the OIN DAO, but also for future products as well, such as the OIN bond and the OIN swap.
Okay, we have a technical.
So currently we're still on the export. Okay.
Yeah, we have a pretty deep technical question coming, which I think is going to take a long answer. And I'm kind of curious to see how it's answered myself. But first off, I just want to address Jason on YouTube. I did see your original question, but as this AMA is for OIN Finance, I'm just trying to pick the best questions for that. But with regards to the adoption in South America, it's going very well. There are many promotions going on right now. There's one going on with Church Chicken. Obviously, 2020 with coronavirus, merchant adoption around the world kind of came to a bit of a halt, but I believe the traction's going on very, very well. So just very, very quickly, I will be doing a live AMA with Dashcore Group CEO Ryan Taylor this Friday. And if you can ask that question again, we can go in more detail and perhaps talk about some of the results of that. Okay. On to the technical question, once again from the Crypto Research Report. Okay, Daniel, this is more of a deep dive. So with OIN Finance smart contract, if it automatically liquidates the collateralized debt position, CDP, because the StakedDash collateral dropped in value and the StakedDash is sold on the open market, I'm not sure I'm following that question, but does that make any sense to you?
Is that the end of the question?
Yeah, I think so. The
The
follow-up
question
is
is,
like,
do
who are?
we, after liquidation, do we sell the Dash,
Yeah,
or who sells the Dash where? If I understand the question
Oh,
right.
the Dash.
yeah.
Oh, the Dash is returned to whoever staked it, right? So, for example, you'll be using MetaMask wallets to interact with the OIN DAO platform. So the tokens will be returned to whoever staked, right? The amounts. So, you won't have to worry about selling exactly.
So essentially, the validators. Hang on, who are the validators? Because if it's Dash that's putting in the collateral, but then again, that needs to be overseen by your network. How does that work?
What do you mean, sorry?
So we would set the guideline, like the templates. So like how much Dash we would choose to collateralize for a stablecoin, say like for a USD. But in terms of how does your network validate what's being done? Because you mentioned you have a DAO, but do you kind of have like a second tier network like Dash? Like, because you're on Ethereum, right? That's why I think that's why this whole process, like who's overseeing it and making this all work. I think because like from our side, we don't know much about OIN Finance and how your infrastructure is. And with Dash, we have like a 2-tier system of master nodes. So like how are you validating these contracts, and like how's that being processed? Is that done on the Ethereum chain via just smart contracts? But I mean, is that being is there any mechanisms like overseeing it, or is it just completely trustless?
Yeah. So the ownership of the contracts actually go to you guys, right? Whoever the partner projects are. But exactly like you said, it's done decentralized completely on the Ethereum network, right? So it's not because we're unknown to the Dash community, exactly like you said. It's hard for us to ask you guys to trust us immediately, right? We do have some great partners on board who is kind of validating that we are who we say we are and you can trust us. But at the same time, because your community doesn't really know about us, that's fine, we understand, right? But we give the full control over the smart contract to you guys, and it's done on the Ethereum network. So we can't really affect it at all unless we're talking about the front end, right? But the front end doesn't really affect the core functioning of it that much at all, right? So if we decide to God forbid, but if we decide to, pause our, front end for a bit for maintenance or whatnot, right? I'm trying to find a good way to put it. Then, if Dash has integrated it into, their Dashpay app, then they're free to continue as is, right?
Okay, Felix, if you can do me the honor of translating this. I have no idea. Sorry, my German is not great. Ist nicht gut.
Everything sounds the same.
Mein
What do you
Deutsch
mean?
ist nicht gut. Yeah, okay. I have no idea what that means. Right, okay. Well, here's another one for you, Felix. Once again, for the Crypto Research Report. Well, I feel like we should have brought on the Crypto Research Report as the fourth guest, but we really appreciate your questions. Please do keep them coming in. So, okay, Felix, I guess this one's for you. As we spoke about the Dashpay app, obviously that's got some excitement going. So they're saying if we can get the stablecoin in the Dashpay app, then Dash will truly achieve its vision, its stated goal of becoming digital cash. Do you agree with that statement?
After all that question, if you come to that conclusion, I really I love it. It's fantastic to see that. I mean, for me, it's simple. We should have as many realistic options as possible that users want to use. We should provide them easy solution, and we shouldn't make their life hard, because payment is for most people except us not an exciting thing. It's something you have to do, and actually you rather not do. So the seamless it is, the more seamless it is, the better, I guess. And I agree. For me, this is one building block of many, and I keep saying this now since we are moving into DeFi. It's really, really important to fulfill the vision of Dash as digital cash, to be money that can go everywhere, that can go into a derivative product, that can go into a saving product, that can go into the cashier system of the burger shop of my choice. It's all different angles that are kind of all important for me to complete kind of a holistic vision of Dash being a relevant payment coin an ongoing relevant payment coin in this crypto and non-crypto industry.
Okay, cool. Right.
And I just want to add here, guys, I'm speaking to the Dash community here, right? So guys, if you want to see it integrated, you have to make noise, right? You have to tell them on Twitter, you have to tell them in their groups, you have to retweet and, just make a lot of noise, right? And I'm sure the, Dash core will hear you. And if there is enough demand for it, exactly like Felix said, it will probably happen, right? Because what we are doing is we're providing, a very usable service, right? Something that makes, transactions easier and whatnot. And we've, gone over a whole bunch of, benefits and value adds. But regardless, the core of it is you guys, it's for you guys, right? So you have to make the noise if you want to see it happen.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Maybe if I may, because this question made me really think everything sounds the same. You're right, and we have this conversation now many times. Every time Mark and me talk about DeFi, I think your head is like steaming, because it's like, what the hell is he even talking about, right? And I gotta be honest, it's a lot of that stuff in DeFi sounds like that, and I can only repeat it. Try it out, because then kind of it suddenly makes sense. And what Daniel said before, recreating financial products. I mean, if you have ever, I don't know, traded a futures contract with your bank brokerage account, or if you have ever tried to get a debt or a loan for your house, and you know what is kind of the paper you have to fill out and send per fax if you are in Germany, then you really see a huge difference if you use anything DeFi, right? It's just so massive to say, I give you Dash, I take out USD, I give you Dash, I take out USD as a loan for my house. I pay that in Dash optimally. We had another partner recently where you can now have fractional ownership, by the way. So, I admit that it sounds easy, like blah, blah, but it has so massive implications of what we are doing here. I really, really strongly believe that. And I can only suggest everybody who did not try DeFi, or who didn't even know until now, didn't use MetaMask, just try to do it and get a grip and feel of it, and most likely it will change your position.
Okay. And I think that ties in really well with pretty much the whole theme of tonight, I guess, and that is exactly like you said in the beginning, Felix. You said we're building out the foundation, right? We're really building tools that we can really leverage to do what we need to do. Because DeFi is so new, because crypto is so new, we don't have a lot of these processes in place. A lot of these functions that we can either copy and paste or just hook into, plug and play solutions. We're just a bank to call, pretty much, right? But we're building these things out one by one, and the stablecoin is definitely going to be, or at least what I believe to be, one of the things that can really spur adoption, right? Because again, as a business, if I had to accept a volatile crypto, I probably would not enjoy it, right? It's like asking I don't know, Ford to take a house, or a stock or a bond for payment for a car, and that's just not going to happen, right? What they need is a stable currency, and that's exactly literally what stablecoin is. Right. So with this foundation that we're building, I really believe, exactly like Felix said, things are going to happen. It may sound the same, but once enough of these pieces fall into place, you really understand what it's trying to do, right? And the value that it's providing the users.
Hey, Daniel, this is a really important question, and one that I've would like to hear the answer to as well, because we're hearing a lot about the congestion issues on Ethereum and the gas fees rocketing up. I know I asked you previously about Ethereum 2.0, and hopefully the fees will come down on that. But if OIN Finance is built on Ethereum, then each stablecoin transaction will have an Ethereum transaction fee to pay, right? So they've given an example here saying like they pay their transaction fee of $17, pretty extreme for a stablecoin, for USDC and USDT, also stablecoins. In terms of practicality, this is a big issue, right?
It is. It absolutely is. And that's one of the things that we're excited for, exactly like you said, Ethereum 2.0 or Polkadot or a whole host of other things. But regardless, kind of how it works currently is that it's not done on a per transaction basis, right? So for example, if you're going in to buy a burger, then you're probably not going to immediately transfer the amounts or mint the amount of just the burger and use that to pay. What will likely happen is not necessarily whales, because you don't need that large amount to make it worthwhile, but these people come in and stake a decent amount, right? To mint, and that token then is in circulation, right? So you have a certain amount of USD that's going in circulation. Now, having this pool of StakedDash that creates Dash is, first of all, it increases the TVL, right? Total value locked, and with that, it kind of transfers the value to the merchants in a smooth way. And that is not necessarily done per transaction, right? So when you're using, USD Dash, I'm going to call it USD Dash until we get a name for it. Using USD Dash, then what you can do is you can just purchase USD Dash on, for example, OinSwap. Or if there's enough of you guys staking and enough of the tokens in circulation, then it could also be listed on Curve, for example, right? So what you can do as a user, as a fan of Dash, is you could get your USDT or any other token that you're holding and swap that for Dash, right? The USD Dash. And that is still supporting Dash, and that is still taking part in that community, because you're really allowing that pool to thrive, right? And for the people who are staking Dash, well, I don't know if you guys have decided to give rewards or not, right? I think that's a question for down the road. But that is what incentivizes the bigger stakers to really get into the platform.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, I've got a question for you, Daniel. Ignore the one that's up at the moment with the banner. I'll sort that in a second. But we've been talking a lot about the stablecoin, and clearly the community is very excited about that. But there's actually a lot more to OIN Finance than just stablecoins, because you can actually enable all kinds of functionality, right? And when we spoke previously, you mentioned like lending, borrowing. You mentioned OIN Swap, which means you'll be able to swap assets cross-chain. Is that correct? Could you just explain some of the other features and functionality that OIN Finance brings to the table?
So currently, the products that we've announced is OIN Bond, and OIN Swap, right? So OIN Bond is, we don't want to release too many details on it yet, but you can essentially think of it as a bond, right? Variable or fixed rates. That's literally as much as we're willing to say. And for OIN Swap, exactly like you said, it's a swap service, right? So if you go in, exactly like I said, you go in with StakedDash, mint USD Dash, and you really, really think Dash is awesome. You love the project. So what do? You go and you swap the USD Dash for more Dash, right? You can absolutely do that, right? And that's exactly what leveraging is. So what we're doing is we're building an ecosystem that can kind of plug into each other and really leverage the values that's being provided by each of these products. And we're allowing the projects that join the OIN DAO to really partake in that ecosystem without much effort, right? So, for example, with OIN Bonds, again, we don't really want to give too much information, right? But it's probably not just going to be just OIN, right? It also will include other projects. So then, just by joining OIN DAO, you really get immediate access to all these other things that are coming out, really into a built-out ecosystem that gives you access not just to stablecoins, but also pretty much whatever DeFi function that you're looking for. So, for example, liquidity mining, yes, we don't currently have it, but OIN Swap will have some form of liquidity mining. Yield farming, whatever you think of DeFi currently is we'll probably provide that, right? I can't promise for future iterations of what DeFi is, right? Maybe DeFi will undergo a DeFi 2.0 revolution, I don't know. But at that point, we can also stand back and say, do we need to do this, right? Just like how we've been able to pivot until now. We might be able to do that later on. And if Dash, for example, tells us, hey, we need to do this, I want this DeFi function on Dash, and we want you to do it, then of course we'll be happy to take a look anytime.
Excellent. Anything to add to that, Felix? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I probably should not go into the rabbit hole of liquidity and everything. But just one thing I want to keep in mind and remind everybody, liquidity is a key thing for every single cryptocurrency, because, you know, what are we dealing with? If we look at the price, it's ask and demand. So, you know, we kind of have to balance that. And in an optimal world, obviously, you know, Dash goes to the moon. That's what we always, you know, want to do. And the truth is, we are listed at exchanges around the world. DCG is just launching the FastPass network that is also looking a lot into the question of liquidity, because an issue is, if you are listed at so many different exchanges, is that you sometimes have low liquidity on something. So if you can provide solutions that you can essentially pool the liquidity in the middle so everybody can tap into that, that's a great thing to have, because it will make, you know, price volatility essentially better. So this is, I think, something important to keep in mind. And this is a lot where DeFi right now is actually standing, because everybody is exploring ways to deal with that liquidity issue, right? This is why we are seeing so many different liquidity pools on the different DEXs, on Sushi, on Uni. This is why, you know, we heard about the vampire attack Sushi was doing with Uniswap, and now we have that cross chain. So all of these, you know, there needs to be liquidity that we can do everything. And the moment we figure that out, the better we figure that out, the better for us all, and the better for the price of Dash and the stability of Dash.
Excellent. Okay. This is an interesting question. So clearly very active following, because they've seen the recent REN proposal get funded on the Dash network, which is currently in the process. But yeah, this is an interesting one. So I'm guessing this is more catered towards Daniel, but will the stakehound Rapdash and REN Rapdash, which is not available yet, but it's in motion, be fungible with each other, like the BitGo wrapped Bitcoin and REN wrapped Bitcoin?
I guess that's better with me, the question, Daniel, if I may.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, it's two different things. One is you can exchange the moment we have it on a decentralized exchange, such as Sushi, where StakedDash is right now. Anyone can go to Sushi and exchange StakedDash versus REN Dash, given that both are listed, that we both create a liquidity pool that is on Sushi. So anybody can do that, no KYC needed, just a MetaMask or just a Web3 wallet, and going to the app of the decentralized exchange. The other question is, if you want to wrap an asset, as I explained as we just discovering, there are multiple ways to do it. BitGo and Rapdash works via a KYC service, essentially. That means a trusted third party, a custodial service, and REN is essentially a decentralized solution to do that. So with REN, you give it into the darknode network that are holding your original Dash. With StakedDash, you give it in the hands of a third-party custodian. So obviously, if you want to exit from either StakedDash to Dash or REN Dash to Dash, you can do that, but through the different parties involved in that. So I hope that answers the question.
Excellent. Thank you, Felix. Okay, well, we're 58 minutes in, so I think we're close to the 60-minute time limit. So let's have one final question for Daniel. And I guess ultimately, it's like, what happens next? So with OIN Finance, do you have a roadmap? Do you have a pipeline? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, so I think actually we kind of inadvertently covered most of it. You know, we have OIN Bond and OIN Swap coming out. As for our products, right? I think OIN Swap will be first. You know, we're also again in the middle of kind of updating our roadmap as well, because our timelines have changed a bit. We're moving some things up and moving some things back, right? And again, this is you know, based on market movements, what the projects are looking for, what the community is looking for. So, you know, if you go on our website, you can also see our roadmap, and that should include, you know, Polkadot and Binance Smart Chain as well. Right? I don't actually know if we've included Binance Smart Chain on the website roadmap, but you know, it is coming, right? And it is coming soon. because we see the need for it. We see that it's very popular. And again, exactly like, what Dash and, we're trying to do, we're trying to gain adoption, right? We're trying to spread this technology and its value pretty much to as many people as needs, right? So yeah, we have really exciting things coming up. We have really cool partnerships too, not just people listing on OIN DAO, but also, several different types of partnerships, right? So for example, NFTs, we're looking at some exciting things with NFTs. I can't really give you exact details, but let's just say it's not just about us, right? We have some really cool partnerships coming up with other projects as well, not just integrations onto their chains, but also, seeing how far we can take the actual adoption of the stablecoins and the staking pools itself, right? And this is even, before the OIN swap comes out, where you have an easy off ramp, right? Currently, if you have, enough stakes and you have enough stablecoin minted, then you can apply to, Curve to have your stablecoin listed on Curve for an easy off ramp. And I'm sure the Dash community, as big as you guys are, you'll have no problems getting onto onto Curve, right? Until our OIN swap comes out. Once it does, please use us. But keeping all those things in mind, we have some really cool things coming up, right? And they really they do play into each other to really make a fleshed out community and ecosystem. Not just, we're not a one-hit wonder. We don't have just stable coins coming up. But even with the stable coins, there's plenty to be excited about.
So where can our users go if they're interested to learn more about OIN Finance?
You can absolutely go to our website. You can go to our Medium or Telegram group. Our Twitter is now a little more active, and we're seeing pretty good numbers on there. So yeah, follow us Twitter. If you have any questions, you can also ask on Twitter, or ask us on Medium or Telegram, sorry, at any time. Right. We have some really good admins, and if there's any more technical questions or whatnot, they also do forward to the team, so we can answer them there.
Fantastic, much appreciated. And Felix, I think it's only fair that I ask you as well. Like, just to wrap up, final words, and what's next for Dash Next? What's going on?
I mean, this is we are going exactly in the direction we were hoping. We were super happy that we launched StakedDash last week. We are in the process of talking to many partners. I find it a bit, I don't want to mention too much, also in respect of these partner conversations we have. I don't want to announce anything maybe somebody doesn't want I announce. So please stay tuned. A lot is coming, and I guess we're moving in the right direction. So please, I acknowledge as well that this topic raises so many questions like I've never seen before. This makes me very happy, and honestly the feedback is amazing. So always feel free to reach out. I am on Discord with FX Mago. I am on Twitter with Felix Mago_Dash, and I am on LinkedIn. So reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always happy to explain, because I realize it's really needed. And of course, as I said before, please try out DeFi. The moment you try it out, your picture will most likely change.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And just a bit of forward guidance. So this Friday, we will be having another AMA with Dash Core Group CEO Ryan Taylor. And the following Wednesday, we have another Dash Next integration AMA with Solid Blocks that offer fractional ownership of real estate tokenized, which you can buy real estate with Dash and get payouts as a passive income stream from real estate property. Pretty exciting stuff. So make sure you subscribe and follow the official Dash channels. And what I'd like to say is why the 60 minutes is now up and we have to conclude today's AMA. Firstly, before I get onto this, I would just like to give a big thank you to both Daniel and Felix for taking part in today's AMA. But more importantly, I'd like to thank you all for watching and participating. We really hope that you found this AMA to be informative. Please do let us know in the comment sections if you enjoyed it. And please make sure to follow the official Dash social media profiles to stay up to date with the latest Dash news, announcements, and software releases. But what I do want to say that if you are new to Dash and you just happen to discover this video stream while surfing the web and wish to learn more, please visit the website dash.org. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much. Thank you, everyone. We love being here.